like more games are going to be dropping into Xbox Game Pass from ABK. One has actually been confirmed, and it looks like another big one is coming as well. More gameplay here from South of Midnight, which looks absolutely phenomenal. I feel like this game is taking a lot of people by surprise, coming out of nowhere. Some information about some upcoming handhelds, one that could be an Xbox One or be used as an Xbox, and then also got some leaks or maybe a first look at the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Cons, which is an interesting thing here, and many other things to go over in this video. But before we continue, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe, share the video, like the video, all of that good stuff. And let's start off here talking about Xbox Game Pass and some more Crash games that look like are coming over to the service. One of the things that Xbox has been doing this year is finally giving us more ABK games, obviously topping it all off with Call of Duty Black Ops 6 as the main one to launch this year into the service day one. But they're also drip feeding us here some Crash games, Spyro games, some of these older back catalog titles from ABK. And we have some more here. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled will be heading over to Xbox Game Pass on Wednesday, so tomorrow. So if you haven't played that, that's great. It's a fun car racing game. I've played it. I believe I own the physical copy of that one. And then Crash 4 potentially is going to be coming over as well, as there was somebody here who posted a picture of Crash Bandicoot 4 showing up on their Fire Stick with it being compatible for Xbox Game Pass. I mean, it would not be a surprise whatsoever if this game launches into Game Pass. You look at the ones that have been coming recently: Crash, the Insane Trilogy, the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, you got Crash, the kart racing game now, and then Crash 4 will just kind of top it all off. But this is exciting that we're finally getting this. I wonder what other back catalog stuff Xbox is going to be dropping into the service and how they're going to spread that out through 2025, because you would have to guess that we are going to be getting more drops like this throughout next year, as they have way more games. If you think about games like Prototype, I would love to see in there. I would love to see Tony Hawk series coming in there. There's been all of the looks at the Marvel licensed games like the Spider-Man, Deadpool, that have been getting updates in the back end, which I really do hope drop into Xbox Game Pass for a variety of reasons, because some of those games are actually hard to get and are expensive now if you want to pick up a physical version of them. So if they drop those in the Game Pass, it'll just give more people the access and ability to play those games. So hopefully this is the beginning. 2024 has been a good year with them starting to bring over the ABK stuff, and in 2025, just I hope they expand that catalog out. Now, one of the biggest games for next year, at least it's shaping up to be, is South of Midnight. I mean, this game looks absolutely phenomenal with the animation style that they are going for. We've seen gameplay of it a little bit here, and we've seen some trailers of it. But now we have some more combat gameplay for South of Midnight, and the game looks just as good. It does not seem like this is going to disappoint based off of all of the news and information we have about it. But this comes via Clobro. It says Compulsion Games shares a short new gameplay clip of South of Midnight, and you can just see the combat here with that stop animation. Looks phenomenal. Looks absolutely phenomenal. It's very unique in my opinion what they've done with this, and I really hope it ends up feeling as cool in your hands as it looks when watching the overall gameplay. But I think this is going to be a great one. I'm excited about it. I like third-person action games, and this sounds like, at least from the traversal that we've seen now with this combat, it looks and sounds like it is going to be one of the great ones. And then also like the whole lore that they're going with like Deep South and stuff, that sounds very interesting. And from the documentary that they did, they're doing a lot of research in it, so hopefully this is very authentic to that part of the United States. I mean, I would love to see the lore of and everything that they develop and create in the art style of this stuff when this game does launch. So pretty excited about that. Now, when it comes to handhelds, we know the handheld gaming world is exploding here with all of the PC handhelds. We have all of these different manufacturers going out there and making them. There's been some talk, even yesterday we talked about it. Will Xbox just license out their UI and give it to these PC manufacturers, Lenovo's, the Asuses, and then give them the go-ahead to make officially licensed Xbox handhelds, where you get to go out there and pick the specs that you want, and then it'll just open up the ability for people to get into handheld gaming rather than only having one unit that's highly priced or something along those lines. So with PC handheld expanding, and even right now, if you pick out a handheld with Windows on it, it is basically can be an Xbox handheld when you have Game Pass and everything on there. And the next one that is going to be coming up here is the Lenovo Legion GO S, the Lenovo Legion GO S. And it looks like we have some first looks at it, because the current Lenovo Legion Go is pretty big, pretty bulky. So they're going to make a smaller one here The more affordable Legion GO S is expected to be less powerful than the Legion Go based on the Z1 Extreme, but will be a more affordable option potentially for those looking to jump into the ecosystem. And this is what the first look is. It looks very much like an Asus ROG Ally. I mean, I feel like a lot of them look very much the same, in the same similar shells and button styles and everything. If you look at like the MSI one and the ROG Ally, those basically are exact clones of each other. This one isn't an exact clone, but it does look somewhat familiar. And I wonder the big difference between this one, how games perform it versus the main Legion Go. But they do say here it's expected to use the new AMD Ryzen Z2 platform. Notably, it's the Z2G rebrand configuration, and this would contribute to the idea that Lenovo Legion Go is supposed to be more affordable option. Indeed, it has dropped a lot of the bells and whistles on the Legion Go, dropping the detachable stick, so this is locked on there. You're not going to be able to take them off, which that to me is like a feature that I really like about the Legion Go, although I don't own them, but just like looking at the console itself, being able to take those things off and set the screen up in front of you depending on where you're playing, something I like to do with the Switch. So I like that they added that into the Legion Go. There's no kickstand, and the extra back buttons are not there either, but it is a more Asus ROG Ally like profile. So that's what it is, and we'll see how well this does do. And what it does show is that they're continuing to make these things. These things are selling decently enough that it's a market that wants to be invested in further. And we've been hearing all about the rumors about Xbox Handheld, PlayStation Handheld, and I believe both of them are going to make a Handheld. They want to get in and compete. This is a way to expand out that ecosystem to more people. PlayStation, we've heard the rumors recently, and it looks like there's more on that. Some more corroboration here about a potential PlayStation Handheld. This is being backed up here by Digital Foundry. It says here, it claimed the company, well, this is what Digital Foundry is claiming, that it is in the early stages of creating the device, which is still years away from a potential release. This is quoting here saying, what's interesting about this is we actually heard about this handheld some months ago from a couple of sources specifically. So we're not in the business of leaking things, but it's interesting that this finally sort of started to make its rounds because it just sort of confirmed what we had seen and heard off the record about this existing, which is cool. So to me, this sort of just strengthens the notion that, yeah, they're very much looking on something, and this article makes it seem like it's even further out than I actually thought based on that. So I'm not sure where it's going. I think there's like prototype stuff out there, possibly. There's still a lot of questions for this, but it does feel like this future of offering a handheld and a home console option is very likely at this point. I mean, it looks like it's happening. More chance of it happening than it not. And that's an exciting thing. I mean, this is going to be the main battle next generation. If you're looking at it specifically from a hardware perspective, like I think the main battle is where Xbox is leading in, which is that whole ecosystem thing and getting people to access it anywhere, having as many users as possible. But and if you're looking specifically at the hardware, it's going to be the handhelds. They're really trying to expand and grow that market out. When PlayStation put out the PS Vita, I loved that thing. I still have it. I also love the PSP. PS Vita was abandoned relatively fast, and I thought they should have continued with it because there was a lot of good games on that. And you would have thought they were never going to jump back into the handheld space, but because of what's happened, kicked off, I would say, by the Steam Deck more so than anything, the handheld space has just continued to grow. It's become more popular, and they're going to try to get in on this. And it's a smart move because you're going to be able to take your PlayStation games on the go, download them onto this device. You're not going to be locked to the home console anymore. So I can't wait to see what it does. And how is it going to compare to the likes of the Xbox handheld? You know, the UIs, all of that type of stuff. Digital Foundry also mentions this, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if it really will have too much of an effect because PlayStation does have experience making handhelds, but they mentioned that they will have a harder time producing a handheld due to the lack of a Series S SKU like Microsoft. So I'll just play this for you. This is clipped here by Clute here on X.
Microsoft also has the ability, depending upon how they do it, to lean into Xbox Series S profiles for games, which typically run at like, depending on the game, 720p to 1080p resolution or even lower, obviously. Typically run at half the frame rate, typically do not have the ray tracing options that are there on the Series X, if they are there. And they can technically lean into those profiles for a handheld for backwards compatibility purposes. I don't know if they're going to do that, but Sony never had an Xbox Series S, which forced developers to make these low-end profiles for games. And in which case, if they bring out a handheld, I think it would be almost like a Sony VR2, where it would have to have its own versions of games after the fact, after it came out, or via patches after it came out, when it came into existence. So it would be like a new lower end PS5 in that aspect, that is mobile, and it doesn't have the full BC catalog, maybe other than PS4 games. But like the original PS5 titles and a lot of those other things that didn't have PS4 games, they would either be forced into have, like, I don't know. I don't think they couldn't do it like Microsoft could potentially do it.
So there you have it. At least according to them, it is sounding like that Xbox is going to have an advantage on this handheld with just being able to get games to run, because I already have the Series S profile, which will make it easier for developers to get that backwards compatibility games that were going from the Xbox Series X to this handheld to just run properly. And it does make sense. I mean, the PlayStation is going to have to sit back and think about, do they want to put all of that extra development on these developers to make it work for the handheld? And I feel like they will, because you just look at their hardware sales overall, they do sell well, and developers are going to see that they can get their games played on not only the home console, but also on PlayStation handheld. So there'll be more people seeing it and be able to potentially make more money. So that will be an interesting thing to see how it's all handled. But next generation is all going to be about handhelds. It's going to be about the AI upscaling and handhelds. Those are going to be the two main things I think that dominate the competition in terms of the hardware side of things here when it comes to Xbox and PlayStation. All right, Call of Duty is adding a pretty cool game. I enjoyed the Squid Game show, and they're adding a Squid Game crossover coming here in January. So if you are a fan of that show, you're going to be able to play this within the game. It says here that the crossover is timed to follow the release of Squid Game Season 2, which premieres on Netflix December 26th. And that it is, they say, like the hit dystopian thriller series it's named after, Squid Game Unleashed takes classic children's games and puts a dark spin on them. Team up with your friends or compete against up to 32 players for the ultimate prize, survival. You'll earn money along the way to customize your avatar and advance through tougher and tougher challenges as you make your way up the tournament ranks. So looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm excited for season 2 of Squid Game. I love the first season, and now they're bringing this over to Call of Duty, which is smart, because it's going to be very popular. It's going to be good marketing, obviously, for the show, and then people who like the show to go out and play it on Call of Duty if they aren't already playing the game itself. Now, PlayStation 5, they have, well, today is their 30th anniversary, so there could be some big announcements today. At least people were expecting, maybe like a showcase. People were expecting all of that type of stuff. But we did get something yesterday that I think is pretty cool. I would love to see Xbox do this type of thing with the actual startup of their console, where you can kind of select the startup screen for the Xbox, going back to like the OG Xbox and stuff. PlayStation is doing this here with the PlayStation 5, saying they've added a limited time PS1 boot up and customizable themes based on the previous console. You can go and see here, you can get these themes and boot ups for 30th anniversary PlayStation, so PS1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and the PlayStation 4. And you can see somebody here kind of showing it off, the different openings of it. You can see the PS1, then it says the PS 30th anniversary, and then it shows you all where you go back and select all of this appearance and stuff. So that is the 30th anniversary video that they put out, just celebrating 30 years. I think people were expecting a bit more. Maybe that comes today at some point. Who knows? But one thing that has people very excited, because they may be teases. I mean, people have been asking for Bloodborne to be updated here, 60 frames per second, PC, all that type of stuff forever. And PlayStation has just, for some reason, not done it. And it seems like they aren't going to be doing it. But there was this here at the end of the PlayStation's 30th anniversary video showing Bloodborne. They say PlayStation ending the 30th anniversary video on this is pure evil. And the caption is pretty funny, because it says it's about persistence. And if anything, people have been consistently persistent here on wanting Bloodborne to get a remake, to get 60 frames per second, get updates for these new consoles, put it out on PC, all of that type of stuff. And maybe they're hinting that they're going to finally be announcing that. Honestly, like if they do nothing but just announce this as a 30th anniversary thing today, yeah, it's not what I think I would be looking for. Or a lot of people would be looking for, which would be announcements of new games coming out from their first parties, because they've been very slow on that over the last number of years. But this would generate a ton of hype. People will be talking about it. It'll be big, and it'd be a very smart move by PlayStation to finally get this done. It's also at the same time, it's like we were hearing about them in talks like with Katakawa, which would give them the From Software ownership and everything. So if that acquisition does go through, maybe they're closer in making that deal. And this, again, they're comfortable with now putting this type of stuff at the end of their trailers and hinting at this more and more. So who knows exactly what this means? Maybe nothing. Maybe they're just saying, hey, yeah, Bloodborne's here. We had Bloodborne on PlayStation, and you're still going to have to wait for any future updates. And a couple more things here. Tencent has made a new acquisition. They've acquired a new game studio, supported here by Yuxi Putao, then found by Gematsu, that they have purchased 37% of the Wuthering Waves developer, and adding to its 24.4% that it already owned. The purchase makes Tencent the only external shareholder of the company. I don't know anything about this company or anything, but what I do know is that Tencent is continuously doing this. They are getting their tentacles into as many places as possible and expanding through the industry by buying up shares for companies and trying to get more and more acquisitions. And they aren't stopping. They are a huge competitor. They're going to be massive going forward for the gaming industry in terms of when you're looking at the big players, Nintendo's, Xbox, PlayStation. Tencent is right there with them, and they're continuing to make these types of moves in the industry itself. So interesting stuff there. We'll see what's the next thing that they do. And finally, we'll just talk about this because this is cool. Nintendo Switch 2 is on the way. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait for the announcement. I like my Nintendo Switch. I'm going to be getting the Nintendo Switch 2. But they say a user on the Chinese social network Billy has uploaded a relatively blurry video of what he claims to be Joy-Cons for the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2. It's very blurry, but you can sort of see here a slight difference. I mean, these look exactly like the current Joy-Cons, which to me, I want to see a bit of a change in them. Maybe some better sticks on it, maybe a better connecting mechanism, maybe some extra buttons, things like that. This looks very similar. I mean, there is an extra button here. It does look like they have, I guess, curved ends or a different end in the shape of them. That's what this picture is pointing out. And they also have a different connecting mechanism here too. But it basically looks the exact same. They say the main difference here is the Switch 2 Joy-Con uses magnets to connect to the console along with what seems to be a release button. Okay, so that's not, I guess, a functional button for a game, but it is a release button. And the individual who uploaded the video of the Joy-Con says the production volume for the Nintendo Switch 2 is not high enough for a rumored March release. And that's the one thing we have been hearing, that we're going to make the announcement in January, then release it in March. This person is saying it's not there yet. Nintendo is still trying to get the record for the best selling console of all time. It's going to be harder and harder because PlayStation continuously is finding sales for the PS2 somewhere and increasing their overall sales numbers, but that's what their goal is, I believe. And maybe they're just trying to wait and see if they actually have enough in the tank to obtain that goal, and maybe they'll even wait until the end of 2025. Who knows? But I want to see what this Switch 2 is all about. The upgrade in power, will it be able to play all the current games on the market, all of that type of stuff. But I will end the video there, guys. Let me know what you think about all of this news. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.